All right, everybody. Welcome to our VIP Babes Q&A with myself, Bonnie, and Melanie. She should be, oh, there she is. We hooked you up, girlfriend. We hooked you up. So you guys submitted a ton of questions. We are going to do this try to get to most of them in 30 minutes. If your question doesn't get answered, then drop it for the next call so that the next 3 that are on deck next week can answer your calls. You guys, I hope that these have been helpful to you. I know they've been very helpful to me. I've gone back and I've watched the recordings. If you haven't, and especially if you're new to the group, make sure you go back and get these Q&A calls and listen, because there is liquid gold in each and every single one of them. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to moderate and I'm going to toss questions, answer some myself. Bonnie, what's the one thing you wish you would have done as soon as you hit diamond?
I feel like I'm on a game show right now.
Yes, I'm gonna make this very interactive.
The one thing I wish I would have done as soon as I hit diamond is keep going. I hit diamond and I was like, sweet, made it, gonna be a millionaire, don't need anybody else. This team I have now is gonna get me there. And I stalled for a really long time. I actually remember a specific call with my coach, Lindsay. I was standing in my backyard in our house in California, and I was venting to her about how my coaches were not getting me to 2-star. And she said to me, probably one of the most annoying things I've ever heard was, well, you don't have the team right now that's going to get you to 2-star and beyond. You have to do exactly what you did to get to diamond again and again and again. And I think so many times we get to a rank, or we have coaches who get to a rank and then they stall out because they don't know that it's just a stepping stone. So sometimes I wish that we build diamond a little bit differently as, hey, it's not that big of a deal because you're so far from there. So I wish that someone would have told me, okay, that's great, but now you got to do it again in the same amount of time, and again and again.
Amen. I'll just add to that. I'm sure Melanie will second everything we say, that, you know, I tell my people a superstar diamond is a diamond that just kept going relentlessly and kept building and kept building and kept finding new people that catch the vision that you have. So you have to keep going, can't just stay stuck. The way you build income in this business is by building a big team, right? So your initial 8, that's amazing. That's a check mark on the many goals that you have to accomplish to build an income that's sustainable. So never forget that. Melanie, I'm going to ask you, when you have emeralds that are stuck, what do you recommend to them? How do you get them moving? A lot of the coaches in this group have hit diamond, and now their emeralds are kind of just wavering and they're not moving forward. What do you recommend?
Okay, so a couple of things is, even when I'm teaching emerald, it's always like emerald every single month or emerald every single week. So as soon as you get to emerald, as soon as we get there, we celebrate that. But I want people to begin to think about, okay, who are going to be the next 2 people that I'm going to add? So as soon as possible, start thinking about that next 2. But also at emerald, you're still building the foundation of your business, right? And so it's kind of at this point where you're getting your footing and you're really starting to build a brand. And I think about, emerald, that, hey, those first two people you sign up, they're probably your mom and your sister-in-law, or your husband and your best friend. And so you don't necessarily have real business builders yet. And so I know for me in my business, that was the next step. It was get really good at inviting, get really good at filling up my pipeline. And I kind of think about my business in like these 3 buckets, where I have my warm market. They're the people that know, love, and trust me. They're going to sign up with me right off the bat. Doesn't matter if I'm selling them dirt. Danielle and Tony taught me that, right? Like, you're selling they're going to buy the dirt from you. But then I also know at the same time, I need to be filling people in the next bucket. And the next bucket is people I don't know on social media. It's people that I'm connecting with, that are out there, that I'm starting to make those initial eye contact with. They don't know me yet. They don't trust me, but I'm going to get them to trust me through showing up on social media consistently, adding value, being a product of the product, sharing testimonials from the people that I am helping along the way, because I want those people to move to the next bucket where they're going to then buy the product from me. And so as an Emerald coach, think about your business that way. I constantly want to make sure that I'm filling up the buckets of my business, so they're joining my challenge group, they're getting great results, and then they're becoming my future coaches. And if you are constantly saying, do I have people in each bucket at all times, then your business will continue to grow. And if a bucket's empty, you know you've let your foot off the gas somewhere along the way.
Love it. Thank you. That's awesome insight. So Betsy, we'll get to your question in just a second. I just wanted to address this one myself, which is I have a very small team right now. How much time should I be putting into my team versus my business? And I'll just give the advice that Doug Moss gave at our leadership retreat earlier this year, which I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. If you have a small team, let's say you're an Emerald or even a Diamond, the majority of your time should be on finding new people, whether it's customers or coaches. So if you want a percentage, I would say as an Emerald, it's like 0 your team, 100% finding new people, because you need to grow. Once you get to Diamond, I would say the percentage is like 10%, 90, right? 10% team, 90% new people. Now, why do coaches get stuck at Diamond? Because they flip that. And then they spend 90% of their time managing the 8 people that they sponsored plus the Emeralds, and just sit there and watch them and watch them. And on week 4, when your downline lights up like a Christmas tree, you're like, but I don't understand what happened. It's because you're not finding new people. So as soon as you hit that goal, right? Emerald, Diamond, so on and so forth, it will begin to shift. But you guys, even with me, like I've been doing this close to 10 years. I spend the majority of my time finding new people. The majority of my time. And if my team sees me quiet, it's because I'm hustling to find new coaches and new customers. That's my job. That's my job. Their job is to grow their business. My job is to grow my business. And if you can understand that, then you're going to get the longevity to do this 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, right? We're going to all be doing challenge groups in our wheelchairs in the next 40 years. But anyway, so I think that's a good percentage wise. Like once you're in the superstar Diamond range, once you're, making a sizable income, yes, you'll dedicate more time to the team and fostering culture and creating that kind of value and environment. But you guys, at where we are right now, it's new people always. All right. And then maybe Bonnie, Melanie, and I can all touch on Betsy's question. So let's head to Betsy's question. It's on the chat, and I loved it. She's curious, what percentage of coaches helped us get to 5, 10, or 15 star that are still with us as Diamonds? I know this is going to be very rough estimates, but Bonnie, I know you saw the question, so maybe you started thinking about it already.
Yeah, I actually love this question because it goes along with the first question of what do you do once you get to Diamond? The same thing that you do once you get to 15 star. You continue recruiting people and helping them get to Diamond, because I will tell you, I went 15 star, I forget what year it was, to be honest with you. My brain has left the building at this time of night. But the year I went 15 star, I had 31 Diamonds in 1 year. From those 31 Diamonds, I think 7 of them are still Diamond or above, or Star Diamond at this point. And I think the other percentage of those people have either dropped and they've become discount coaches or hobby coaches, or have left the business altogether. So I've remained 15 star. So you can do the math on how consistently you have to continue to recruit and do the same things over and over again. I mean, the same is true with, if you look at, the crop of your challengers. How many people complete a challenge? How many people, and it's going to be different for every coach. It's going to be different it all depends individually, what happens in your business, what happens in people's lives. This business is such a people-based business that there's no way we could adequately say, okay, 26% of the people who hit Diamond will remain in the business or something like that. It's very individualized. However, if you just take my business, for example, that's one of the reasons why the work just never stops. I think I stopped saying a long time ago, you know, you work hard in the beginning and then you kind of don't. That's false. It's false in life in general. There's nothing where you can stop working. And I think that it's really nice to know that that's the same across the board. And we're all, no matter how many years or how many titles or how many things we've achieved, it's because we're all constantly duplicating that. So those are my numbers personally.
Mm-hmm.
Melanie?
Yeah, same exact thing. When I went 15 star diamond, my goal was to have 20 diamonds because I knew that not everybody was going to stay and I knew people would come and go. And in 2017 was sort of like the mass exodus of people for me. So I think I probably lost about 50% of the diamond coaches that I had, in that process. But in my mind, every time somebody was coming up and would hit diamond, I always evaluate them on their like health of their business mindset. I'm like, is this person somebody that gets it? Is this person a shell of a diamond? Is this person like have what it takes to build a business? And so I look at that. And if I see somebody that I'm like, I just don't know, I am already thinking about who's my backup plan. And so that's always the way that I've built my business is I didn't never get to 5 and stop, 10 and stop. It was always me looking at the levers. Is this person in or out? And always sort of replacing and paying attention to where people were at. So yes, like even I definitely have had my share. I don't know the exact number, but I would say almost all of my original coaches that got me to 15 star are no longer here. Maybe like 5 are, but everybody else has cycled in and out. Yeah.
I'm going to kind of just second all of that. But I will say that even though I know we experienced those quirky years when we switched from DVD to BOD, and then we had some things happen in the network, which is business, you guys, just it's going to happen. Our incomes didn't necessarily like plummet because all these diamonds left. So you have to understand that. So everybody take a deep breath. Everybody breathe. It's just the nature of the business, you guys. Not everybody is going to be a network marketer for 10 years, for 15 years. Not everyone is cut from the same cloth that we are, right? Not everyone is going to stick around. But if we keep going, our incomes, despite people leaving, if we stay in the trenches, if we keep developing leadership and culture, because in my business, I've been very, blessed. I would say not lucky, but blessed. I maintained 15 star in my first business center for like 2 years, which was really, really amazing. And then I went crazy building other business centers. I wanted to diversify. So I haven't been 15 star in my first for quite a while, but my income never dropped. Mm-hmm. So, which is, I mean, this year just a tad, but I'm comfortable. It's fine. But yeah, I did lose people in my first business center, but I diversified and built so many other business centers that my income stayed the same for those years that it was kind of rough. So I want you guys to understand that learning the compensation plan is key to this whole experience, right? If you don't know how this all works, take time this year and in 2020 to master it. I will tell you that learning it myself completely changed my business. Don't leave this stuff to chance. Don't, wake up on Thursday and say, whoa, where did that paycheck come from? No, know where that paycheck came from. Know how matching bonuses impact your pay. Matching is your ability to develop leadership in your team. If those numbers are not there or not growing, then focus on that, right? Because it's the leadership development that's going to help you grow your income. And if you want your income to change, learning the compensation plan is very, very key. Okay, good. Awesome. So I hope that was helpful. Let's talk about diamond pushes because there was quite a few questions about that. And I think it's perfect timing to talk about diamond pushes because we're heading into the new year. My brain's already, twirling as to, who are going to be the 2020 diamonds that are going to help us push to elite again. And, I'm just strategizing in my mind. So, Melanie, okay. Are you planning any diamond pushes And, you know, what's your plan? Let me just look at the questions again. How do you run your push to diamonds? What's your method of helping coaches get to diamond? Just throwing out some of the, there was a lot of questions here. What do you do to hold them accountable? Do you do one-on-one calls? So kind of touch on what's your strategy and game plan for next year.
Yeah. So yes, I do push to diamonds, and I will do one, especially going into January, because but I'm very mindful of where people are at in their business. So even going into January, you know, you have a lot of people that recommit, they come out of the woodwork and they're like, I want to start all over again, you know? And so I'm already thinking about the fact that I'm going to have people that are going to want to recommit to their business. So they're going to go back into sort of a new coach training, but I won't put them in the new coach because they're not a new coach, right? But it'll be basically the same thing. And then I'll have the people that have been kind of trucking along and that are ready. They are emerald. They've got at least 3 coaches, if not 4, and they'll go into a push to diamond group. And so in my mind, the old Melanie used to just give so much information that I would overwhelm people and they would shut down. And I've really learned, for me personally, the best thing to do is make it a push, make it between 4 and 6 weeks long, do a closed Facebook group, works best for me, and then have that weekly call. So it's a weekly call at a very specific time. And the expectation is we're going to back ourselves into what it means to be diamond. So we have our diamond bubble sheet, and then we basically say, okay, how many coaches do we actively have? How many do we need? And everything is based upon filling in those bubbles over that next 4 to 6 weeks. So that means for me, I like exclusivity personally. So I will a lot of times just take a handful of people that I will personally message, and I will say, you are definitely diamond material. I want to personally mentor you. I want to help you get there. You know, will you commit to a weekly 20-minute call with me where we're going to touch base? I'll be your accountability, and then checking into this Facebook group and connecting with the other people in there. And so that really does help, that touch base, that one-on-one call, the weekly chat. And then honestly, it's accountability instead of content. It is me going into that Facebook group or other leaders going in and saying, here's how I invited today. Here's the kind of post I did and why I did it this way. And so instead of just having to do all these trainings, it's just us sharing what's working and how we are doing what we're doing. And so for me, that's always worked the best. And that's how I've been able to produce diamonds in the past.
Awesome. I think you nailed every single diamond push question that we had.
Okay.
So thank you for that. Let's switch gears because we only have a few more minutes to social media. And luckily, we have 2 queens of social media on this call answering questions. First, I'll give Melanie's new book a plug. You guys, Melanie and Katie just published a book on social media game planning, basically, and it's available on Amazon. She's not able to sell it, but I can sell it to you. So yeah, Betsy just put it up. I'm going to be ordering my copy, and it's a tool that we can use going forward to help us with content, to help us with strategy. So just a little plug there. Bonnie, let's talk about have you seen any changes in social media? And are you taking a new approach in 2020? Anything that you're changing in the way that you invite and using your Instagram stories? Anything like that?
Yeah, I love this question because everything is change on social media. There will never be constant except for consistency. Consistency will be the one thing that over time, no matter how many algorithms change, no matter how many hashtag games are different or whatever, consistency will always remain queen. And that for me is something that I'm focusing big on with my team, especially this time of year. There is nothing that will outweigh for the next 3 or 4 weeks, really 6 weeks, because the first week of January is still technically a holiday for most people. They still have off from work. They're still trying to recover. They're still in the mindset of, okay, it's the new year, but most likely on January 1st, everybody's not like, hot damn, want to buy a program. So this next 6 weeks is really going to be a test for you and your coaches on social media specifically in what ways can you help them, and can you personally stay consistent? So for me, I'm in an interesting, and I know there's other people that will relate to this, I'm in an interesting phase of life. I'm nearing the end of a pregnancy. I was just told I can't work out for the rest of my pregnancy, which is like a knife in my heart. So instead, I'm trying to figure out ways around these hangups, just like we all have to around holidays and stuff, of ways of being consistent and still sharing with our mission in mind. So for me, I started doing videos and stories and posts about things that I can do that are in my control, health-wise, food-wise, modification-wise in my workouts. So I think it's less about what exactly you're posting. What we spend so much time thinking about content, and if you need content help, purchase Melanie's book. But I think it's way more about, how can I just show up every single day? How can I just be someone that is that lighthouse for people, so that the second week of January, when they do feel that urge to make the purchase or continue, you're the one that pops into their head. And the only thing that can do that is consistency for me. So in this last couple weeks, I traditionally have this push with my team that's, let's just have a game plan for the next 6 weeks. And this will also help with volume and paychecks and stuff like that. Pick one product or one program or one thing that you can really go all in on your social media. Maybe it's Bar for You with the launch. Maybe it's Energize around the holidays. Maybe it's Shakeology. Maybe it's Daily Sunshine for your kids around the holidays. Pick one product that you and your team can really push over the next 6 weeks. And your goal with them is, hey, talk once a day about this product. Show up once a day about this product. Everybody, your goal is to sell 1 Energized tub per week. This will not only pump your paycheck up, it will help with consistency on social media, but also it'll get your coaches some small wins in this little window where people are really checked out. So for me, that was a lot, but social media can be really powerful this time of year. And I wouldn't worry too much about content and all of that fancy stuff, because that's always going to change. And we always have resources like Melanie's book to help us with that stuff. But the thing that will always remain queen is consistency.
Amen. Drops the mic, you guys, for sure. One thing I wanted to touch on myself when it comes to social media is please, please, please look at your insights. Because one of the question is getting more interaction, right, on your posts and on your stories. I need you guys to understand that fitness posts, if you were to, I just posted my top 9 for 2019. There was not one fitness post. Not one. Not one. I was like my brain melted. But what was engaging, right? Look at what is engaging on your page and make sure that you are weaving that in, because that, you guys, is what people want to see. However, you still need to grow your business. So you're still going to do the fitness posts and the CTAs and the stuff on Instagram stories, but the stuff that people want to see from you, in my case, lots of DJ, the stories about him being diagnosed. They love seeing Marley grow up. Has nothing to do with my business, but it's what they want to see. And if I give them that, when I do ask for business, when I do talk to them because they've commented on their posts and I send an invite, like, they know that it's coming from, from the right place. So make sure that you're looking at your insights and you're investigating. You're being, not just throwing things out there. I used to be the type that would post 5-6 times a day on Instagram. Now I'm doing it more intentionally. I'm studying what people want to see from me. Sometimes it works, you guys. Sometimes it doesn't, but every day is a learning experience. So make sure that you're just not doing more of the same thing. You're doing more of the smart thing. And I think that's important. And then I know, because I followed in her footsteps, is Melanie, are you still on? Everything shifted. Where is she?
I'm here.
Oh yeah, there you are. Blogs, right? So you started blogging years ago and your blog was incredible and it took off. So in this current state that we're in with social media, what kind of, do you still do that? Do you put any energy into it, or you switch gears out of it? And then I'll share my take on it too.
Yeah. I mean, I still have my blog and I do use it, but it doesn't carry the kind of weight that it used to at all. And the reason for me is with Facebook links, it wasn't getting as many clicks and as many views as it used to. So I kind of steered away from that. But I also think part of my transition was that I really got good at live video, and I started with like those Business Tip Tuesdays, and that really took off for me. And then that transitioned into like the podcast that I started doing. So I even think for me personally, my gift sort of shifted. So it kind of shifted away from blogging and more into video, because that's where I found that I was getting the most traction. So for me, I really don't use my blog as much as I used to, but I like it for the simple fact that if I want to share Bar Blend, or I want to share about the coaching opportunity, I have a platform that I can write about it, and I can share my link with my videos. So if there is something that I want to be in my words that's in a long form, I will go back to my blog and use it.
Okay, awesome. That's really, really good tip. So I love to write, and I use my blog to really, really, really get real about the programs and my experience with the programs. And so when I do write a blog or a progression, a series of blogs, that's what I'm boosting. Like I don't really promote posts or anything like that. And people are drawn to that skill of mine, which is my written word. And so I know that. I do not consider myself like that great verbally. So like you rarely see me do an IGTV, and Melanie's like all the time on IGTV. I'm like, damn it, I really need to do that. So you have to understand what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and if you have this really great strength, really hone in on that. Bonnie, question for you: Do you do any email marketing? The question was, what trainings do you recommend for email marketing or growing your email list? Have you ever done that? Is that something you focus on? Or have you ever done like a text message campaign instead of email?
I'm doing both right now. And I think that let me say this. I don't think a training is necessary when you're starting out in email marketing. But I do think that it is 100% necessary when you are a business owner to house your customers' contacts somewhere else that is not Facebook or Instagram, which we do not own. Because this is how we get into a very bad situation, because we do not control Facebook or Instagram, but you do control your email list. So I do think it's important to get into the habit, even as a young coach, of transferring customer, prospect, every kind of email from the platforms that we utilize every single day, which are awesome, to a platform that you do own. So a long time ago, I started literally, and originally it was manually, into a Google Doc, which was probably not the most efficient way to do that, but copy and pasting emails or pulling them from the back office and dropping them into a Google Doc until I figured out a way to utilize them. So now I use the size of my social media, and on my stories or on my posts, I'll invite people to subscribe to my weekly email that I've been putting out. In that weekly email, if you subscribe, for me personally, my strategy, I just went to Rise Business, which was really eye-opening about email marketing. And I listened to Amy Porterfield, who I love, who has made her whole business on email marketing. Look her up if you guys don't follow her. She has some courses, but again, if you're just starting out in email marketing, just start collecting the emails until you figure it out. For me, my strategy this year is everybody who subscribes to my weekly email gets access to my weekly meal plans. And then from my weekly email, I can utilize that list. This is all prospects. This is all coaches. This is all past customers. I can utilize that email as a breeding ground for, I'm going to give this weekly content, meal plans, whatever you like to do. A lot of times I'll send links to my most asked IG shopping stuff. So like pajamas that people ask for the link for, Amazon links, stuff like that. And this for me has become a really fun place for my business, because there are no rules there. I can talk to my email list about, I already know they're following me. I already know they've ordered once from me. They're a coach with me. They're a customer with me. Now it's about helping them get to know me, right? Creating those raving fans. And this is where you can really have fun with email lists and email marketing. What are the things that you like to talk about? And that, we always talk about creating your customer avatar. This is really an avenue where you can provide them with more of your story, more of your favorite links, more of things that don't necessarily have to do with coaching or being a customer. And then once they are invested in you, then move to the next step. So for me, email marketing has been a really fun new thing to start doing. Amy Porterfield is a great resource. Texting, I just literally 2 days ago, I just used this platform. It's called I think it's Text2P2. I might be wrong, but when the next person talks, I'll find it. You can it's free for the first 30 days, so you can try it out. But essentially what I have started doing is, instead of, if someone fills out an application or is interested in something, they get an application from me. We talk for a little bit. They get an application from me. And in that application, it asks for their phone number and it asks for the permission to text them. And instead of emailing them back, I will text them. This Text2P2 or whatever it's called, it doesn't come right to your phone like a text message. It's literally a program that you can have on your computer that looks like your Gmail account. Like the texts come in and look like you're receiving an email, but it's going to that person's phone. So for me, I've been doing a lot of analyzing over the past couple months, and my open rate for my emails, even for people who fill out an application, is very low. Emails are just something that my market doesn't really open or they get stuck in spam, or you can't control a lot of stuff. I know if I get a text message, I'm looking at it and I'm answering back, especially if it's something that I'm not used to seeing. So I can't speak to the effectiveness of it because I just started it, but it is something that I've started doing, and you can use it for 30 days for free to try it out. So if you're looking at doing that, try it out.
I'm so glad I gave you that question. That is amazing advice. Thank you so much. Okay, one more question and then we got to go. And I'm going to toss it to Melanie because this is her story, which is, what do you do when a coach has a spouse that's not supportive? How do you help them break through from that to actually do something with the business?
Well, I love this question because this is me. Okay, so I think for starters, the best piece of advice is don't try to convince your spouse as to why they need to work out with you or eat healthy with you or do this business with you. Because I don't know if your spouse is anything like mine, but the more I would push Matt to do something, the more he would put up a guard, and it was just out of the question. So for me, and so that was kind of one part. I had to let it be on his terms. So I kind of had to do reverse psychology on him a little bit, right? But I also knew that the only way that Matt was going to support me in the business side of things was if I showed him the money. That was bottom line. He was Mr. Financial. I needed to show him the return on the investment and the time that it was taking away from our family. So I got really crystal clear on the fact that if I was going to ask him to put the boys to bed and get them bathed and put them for bed, then I better go into the spare room and shut the door and sell something. Like I better not be in there chit-chatting with my girlfriends and my success pod and, playing around looking for post ideas. Like I better be inviting and following up and making shiz happen so that he was going to trust me. So that was kind of the second thing. I got really, really clear on making sure that I was producing results. The next thing is that I involved Matt in the process. So I can remember sitting on the couch and checking in with my challengers in the evenings, and I would flip the screen around and I would say, look at this girl. Look at Lauren. She has lost 15 pounds in my challenge group. Like I helped her do that because I checked in with her every single day. And so then it just the connection started to happen. So we started to involve him in the process and show him what I was doing. And then I would ask Matt for advice because you know, even though he might not know anything about Beachbody, he may know how to handle a certain situation because he worked in corporate. So he dealt with managing a team and different people's like personality styles and how to handle conflict. So I would ask him, how do I handle this situation? And so then it became something that the two of us could have a conversation about. And he felt like he had a role in my business and it wasn't just Melanie over here playing on the computer. So it took Matt a year before he ever did his first workout or ever drank Shakeology. And it was because he came to Summit with me unwillingly, willingly, like dug his heels in, came with me. But it was because of that, because he got to experience Summit, and I surrounded him with other Beachbody spouses and people that were achieving success. He really got to see what was possible. So it was very much like give and take. Had to show him the results, had to kind of let it be his idea, but involve him. And it took time and I could not force it. And I'll be honest with you, it was hard. It was just a hard year for us in our marriage, in our life to make that work, but I refused to give up. So that's my answer.
Yeah. Amen. And I'll say that when you are mentoring a coach, a new coach comes on board and says, or, you know, don't you love when they say, oh, I need to get my husband's permission to do anything, and you want to, right?
I know.
Because you're like, you don't understand that. But here's the thing. It's a lot of what's going on are limiting beliefs on the husband's part, but there's also some situations that are caused by the women, by us, that create the environment where we perceive it as non-support, but it's not actually that. It's actually sometimes, I'm not saying this is always, but a lot of times we say we're going to do things and we quit. And so the husband is used to this pattern of behavior, right? Where, yeah, we're going to do this program and then we quit. Or yes, I'm going to start this business and then we quit. And so they're basically, it's like a protection mechanism that they're saying, don't do that because you're just going to quit. Another thing, and I got this from one of our husbands on our team, we did a diamond training and we had some husbands come up and talk when he was talking about when Kara started her business, that he was not quote unquote supportive because she was complaining a lot, right? She would complain about the business. She would complain about the workouts. She would complain about, you know, what it took to do this. And he said, well, if you're not happy, then don't do it. So ladies, let's not complain, right? Let's just put our heads down. Let's do the work and let's get results. And like Melanie said, when the money started coming in and you started bringing results, you started changing people's lives, that's when it starts to change for the spouses 100%. So when you have a coach on your team that's confronted with this issue, just help them work through it. And perhaps it's not necessarily just a quote unquote unsupportive spouse. It's we need to break some patterns of behaviors in order to get them on board. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, you guys, that's it. Bonnie, you're amazing. Melanie, you're amazing. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Do you want to say something, Bonnie? Oh, you're good. Okay. There was a few questions that we couldn't get to. Save them, add them to next week's call so the next 3 can get them. And like I said, you guys, if you're new to this group or you haven't seen the other Q&A calls, make sure you do. All you got to do is just search the group and listen, because there's so much that you can learn from these short, rapid fire calls that have already happened. All right, you guys, if I don't see you, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Let's keep pushing. Remember, what we do right now sets up 2020. So let's end this year on a high. Love you guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye.